Hey everyone and welcome. If you're gardening in the Pacific Northwest, you already know our region kind of plays by its own rules. So today we are diving into exactly what you can do in February and March to set yourself up for an absolutely incredible harvest later this year. So here's the game plan. First, we're going to get a handle on our unique slow start climate, then we'll get our hands dirty with the single most important job, prepping your soil. After that, we'll look at which seeds you should be starting indoors right now for a major head start and which tough little plants can go straight into the ground. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with some pro tips to help you sidestep those common early season mistakes. Alright, first things first, let's talk about our climate. Because honestly, it's what defines everything we do in the garden around here. It's both our biggest challenge and, believe it or not, our greatest advantage. The whole gardening calendar in the Pacific Northwest is really shaped by one thing: our signature cool, wet springs that slowly turn into those beautiful, mild, dry summers. This means it's not a place where you fight to get your tomatoes in the ground in April. Nope, it's a climate that really rewards patience and knowing what and when to plant in Pacific Northwest. And this right here, this really hits the nail on the head. The most successful gardeners I know around here don't try to force Mother Nature's hand, they lean into it. They work with our cool springs and gentle summers, and because of that they grow some of the most amazing tender sweet greens and veggies you'll ever taste. Okay, let's move on to the absolute foundation of your entire garden. Seriously, before you even think about buying a single seed packet, we have to talk about your soil. This might be the most important question you ask yourself all spring. You see, with all our rain, the soil is often completely saturated, and if you try to dig or till soil when it's that wet, you can basically turn it into concrete. You'll compact it into these brick-like clumps and completely wreck its structure for years. It's a huge mistake. So how do you know if it's safe? Well, there's a brilliantly simple, foolproof way to check. It's called the squeeze test. Just grab a handful of soil, squeeze it hard in your fist, and then give it a poke. If it crumbles apart beautifully, you are good to go. But if it just sits there like a slick ball of clay, you need to step away from the shovel and just give it more time to dry out. You know, this all boils down to drainage. When soil stays waterlogged, it literally suffocates the plant's roots. They can't get any oxygen, and it becomes the perfect breeding ground for rot. This problem, what gardeners call wet feet, is hands down the number one enemy of a thriving garden in our part of the world. And that is exactly why you see raised beds everywhere you look in the Pacific Northwest. It's such a simple solution. By just lifting the garden beds 6 or 12 inches off the ground, you solve the drainage problem instantly. The soil warms up weeks earlier and all that excess rain just drains right out, giving your plants the perfect conditions they need to flourish. Okay, one last little tip on soil. All that rain we get tends to make our soil a bit acidic over time. What you're really aiming for is a pH in this sweet spot, right between 6.0 and 6.8. That's the range where all the good nutrients in the soil become available for your plants to actually use. A little dusting of garden lime worked in now can really help get things balanced out. Alright, our soil is on its way to being perfect, so let's talk strategy. Starting certain seeds inside is your secret weapon. It's how you get a jump on the cool weather, and maybe more importantly, how you get ahead of our region's public enemy number one, slugs. So right now in February and March, these are the plants you want to be focusing on indoors. You've got your long season crops like leeks and onions, they just need that extra time to bulk up. Then you have all the cool weather superstars like broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage. Getting them a head start inside means they'll be big strong seedlings when you plant them out, way more capable of shrugging off a little slug damage. And here's the real genius of starting these brassicas inside. Now you're making sure they have plenty of time to mature in the cool weather they absolutely love. This keeps them from bolting. That's when they get stressed by summer heat and flower prematurely, which can totally ruin your harvest. But you don't have to do everything indoors. I know you're itching to get your hands in the dirt, and the good news is there's a whole crew of hardy crops that are ready to be planted directly in the garden just as soon as your soil passes that squeeze test. And what's so great is that these plants, they actually prefer the cool soil of early spring. I'm talking all kinds of peas, which give you their best harvest when you plant them early, and then you have your tough greens like spinach and kale, and super fast crops like radishes. These guys will reward your early efforts by giving you the very first fresh bites from your garden. And look, while we're out there planting peas and spinach in the chill of early spring, this is what we're working towards. This is the payoff: every single seed we Plant now is a building block toward that incredible summer abundance of sun-ripened tomatoes and big beautiful zucchini. Okay, let's wrap this up with a few essential pro tips. These are those little nuggets of wisdom that gardeners around here have learned over the years, often the hard way, that can make a massive difference in your success. Now this is a huge one, especially for beginners. You cannot, I repeat, cannot, just take your happy little seedlings from your warm house and plop them straight into the garden. They will go into shock. You have to harden them off. That just means you bring them outside for an hour or two the first day, then a little longer the next, over a week or 10 days, until they're tough enough to handle their new home. And let's talk about sun, because in our northern latitudes it's like gold for any plant that produces a fruit, and I mean tomatoes, peppers, squash, corn, you name it. You have got to find the spot in your yard that gets at least this much direct sun every day. If you don't, you'll get a beautiful leafy plant, but you'll get very, very little fruit. And finally, please try to avoid these classic blunders. The number one trap is the May mistake. You get a gorgeous sunny week and you get tempted to plant your tomatoes out early, right before our famous cool, cloudy June gloom rolls in and stunts them. Also, always give your plants enough elbow room for air to flow through, and whatever you do, never ever forget to have a plan to battle the slugs. You see, by embracing our moderate climate instead of fighting it, by building that amazing soil, and by timing your planting just right, you can create one of the most productive and beautiful gardens anywhere. So the only question left is, what's it gonna be? What will be the very first seed you plant this season? Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please like and subscribe.